And we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to now talk about the head coaches that are on the hot seat in the NFL. So there is a decent amount of them that could definitely be on their way out at the end of the year. So we'll kind of go through it right now. So obviously, like you look at some of the teams in the NFC, like you got the Bears, Matt Eberflus. He's a guy that I could definitely see being let go at the end of the year. Although, listen, the Bears, last couple of weeks, they have been playing better. Their defense has been playing better. I mean, the Montez Sweat trade has really paid off so far. I mean, he was all over the place on Monday against the Vikings. So, maybe if the Bears play a lot better and they, win a couple more games, maybe he sticks around. Right now they're 4-8, and I don't really see. I think you need to get an offensive coach. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's possible that he's on his way out. Obviously, you got Brandon Staley too, which we've talked about a bunch of times, and just the Chargers and how they performed this year. A lot of close games they have lost this year, and it just seems like that happens all the time. Really his downfall, listen, I loved his aggressive play calling, his first year, so I think some of my friends did as well, but it just got to be a little too much. Because you go back to, I think it was week 2 against Kansas City in 2021, and they went for it on 4th and 7 a bunch of times, and they converted it. And you're like, wow, this is amazing. And you got the quarterback to do it, obviously, with Justin Herbert. But it just got to a point where it was like, okay, maybe it's a little too much. Maybe you should take the points. And it definitely cost them in a lot of games. And last year, of course, you had the collapse against the Jaguars, which, again, I'll be honest, I wasn't really that excited about it. Because I was like, we've seen this, so many times. It just, and it's sad to say. Listen, credit to Jacksonville for coming back, but I was like, yeah, I've seen this before. It doesn't really impress me that much. It's still great, but I don't know. I was kind of just like, listen, I saw the Patriots do it in the Super Bowl. I've seen it before, but I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, but again, it shows you how bad the coaching job that Brandon Staley did in the game. It doesn't just fall at his feet; it falls at the players too. But that was a disaster. But yeah, he's going to be on his way out. I think he should be gone after this year. Maybe they promote Kellen Moore to be the head coach. But they got to. He's a defensive guy, Brandon Staley, and that defense is not good. Now, it did play better on Sunday against the Ravens, and the offense was the problem on Sunday, believe it or not. But yeah, he's another one that should be gone. You also look at Todd Bowles for the Buccaneers. They're 4-7 right now. And listen, Baker hasn't played bad this year. I think he's been decent for him. But, people point to the defenses. Listen, you gave up a lot of yards to C.J. Stroud when they came back against them. You really couldn't stop the Colts on Sunday. Todd Bowles is another one that I think he's on his way out too. Because, again, another defensive guy. That's that's your strength. And the defense has not been great this year, at least recently. They've had good games, but like I said, against the Colts on Sunday, especially against the Texans, against C.J. Stroud, they did not play up to par. So right now they're 4-7. They could still win the division. It's possible, but I think he's another head coach that's definitely going to be on his way out as well. You got Ron Rivera in Washington. Again, that's another situation where they could promote Bieniemy to being the head coach. Maybe that's his way of getting a head coaching job. because he was brought in to be the offensive coordinator of Washington to help out with the development of Sam Howell. And listen, Sam Howell at times has looked really good. Now, was not good on Thanksgiving. Did throw for over 300 yards, but no touchdowns. Well, he had a rushing touchdown, but no passing touchdowns on Sunday. I think they do have something in Sam Howell. And Ron Rivera just he hasn't been great last couple of years. So I think Washington's got to go in a different direction as well. It's going to be interesting to see what the Raiders do. Obviously, they already let go of Josh McDaniels, but is Antonio Pierce going to be the guy? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. One of the coaches now, it's probably not going to happen because I think it's. When I was watching, I think the Michael Kay show, they said that they're all going to be back, and that's the Jets. So Robert Saleh, Nathaniel Hackett, Joe Douglas, they'll all be back next year. I think that's what I heard from yesterday. I don't think Robert Saleh is a good coach. I don't. I thought Brian Dable was a better head coach. Now the Giants actually have been playing better as of late, so at least that reflects well on Dable. But for me, I'm still back to square one with him, especially with how the season started off for the Giants. But when it comes to Robert Saleh, I don't look at him as a good head coach. I don't. I look at him, as a lot of people do, as a very good defensive-minded head coach. Well, defensive-minded coach, so a good defensive coordinator. But when it comes to the offense, the offense is a disaster. And I think they are. They are going to give him another year. But when it comes to the offense, what does he know about developing a quarterback? What does he know about scheming? Putting together an offense. He really doesn't. Nathaniel Hackett's not doing a great job either. If Rodgers was playing, it would the offense would look much better. But it's not good. It's not good. And, he's got a losing record as a head coach. This season is spiraling out of control. And yeah, he's going to come back one more year with Rodgers, and we'll see how they do. But I don't know. I feel like you'd have to go in a different direction. Or at least I think you'd get rid of Hackett, but they're not going to do that because that's Rodgers' guy. So I think if Aaron Rodgers wasn't there and he wasn't planning on coming back, I think all those guys are going to be gone. So they're going to have to do it next year, and you got to hope that Rodgers doesn't get hurt. But you got to go and surround him with you got to build a stone wall for him, because that offensive line right now is currently constructed he would have got hurt again. He would have got hurt anyways, which I don't like to think about, but it's true. Also, another head coach within that division. Well, actually, two head coaches in that division. If you really think about it, the only team that at the moment, in terms of his personality, there's a little bit of a question mark maybe with the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel, but you could have three new head coaches. I just said they're all coming back, but there's three question marks, with the other three teams in the AFC East outside of the Dolphins. The Jets, obviously, they're all coming back, but again, they might not be. Robert Saleh might not be the long-term answer. He might just be here till Rodgers, calls it quits. But you also have Belichick, who could be gone, most likely. But now people are saying, well, if the Patriots get the top pick, maybe he stays. Maybe they keep him around. So we'll have to wait and see. But then you got the Bills with Sean McDermott. And I think if the Bills miss the playoffs, I think you got to make the change there. Because this team, went from the championship game to the divisional round, although it was, they very easily could have made it to the championship game if it wasn't for, them letting Patrick Mahomes get into field goal range with 13 seconds left in the game. Then you got bounced out at home in the divisional round by the Bengals, where you just really were not that competitive in the game, and now you might miss the playoffs. I think Sean McDermott, he's another guy that especially if the Bills miss the playoffs, he's going to be gone. I think he should be. And you see the last couple of weeks, the Bills with, their new offensive coordinator, the offense has looked a lot better. And, Josh Allen was running the football. And again, you want to balance it. You don't want to overdo it with Josh Allen. You want him to run the football, obviously, but you don't want him to run it too much where he gets hurt. Because, everybody compares him to Cam Newton. Josh Allen has a better arm than Cam Newton, but, that wear and tear is eventually going to kick in, and, you're not going to be the same player. And, for me, I want to see Josh Allen play for as long as he can because he's a great player when he's right. It's just he has a turnover problem. And that was something that, hurt the Bills on Sunday. That put the Eagles ahead. Obviously, the Bills went down the field and, scored a touchdown to go ahead. But then, the Eagles got into field goal, into Jake Elliott's field goal range to tie the game in that monsoon. And they lost the game in overtime. I still can't believe Josh Allen is 0-6 in overtime games. That's crazy to think about. But yeah, if the Bills don't turn it around, Sean McDermott, he's another guy that, should be gone. Also, when you look at the NFC South, Arthur Smith, I think Dennis Allen should be gone after this year for the Saints. The Saints just really have not been that good of a team since he's kind of taken over for Sean Payton. I think the Saints need to get somebody else. I'm very strong on that opinion. I think they need somebody else. Arthur Smith, I mean, you get a better quarterback in there. Maybe the team is better. It's weird how, well, the team definitely will be better if they get a better quarterback. I just think it's weird how, he uses his players. The Bijan Robinson stuff, throughout the season, it's been very, odd. I don't know. But I think, you get a better quarterback in there to work that system. And I think, Falcons could be a decent team. I mean, they got, they're 5-6, so it's not like they've, and they're leading the division. But you don't look at them as, a great team. They just they have the roster. They need a quarterback. That's the bottom line. Mike Vrabel, I don't think, I think he's probably fine, in Tennessee. I think that's it. I think I got most of them. I'm trying to think. No, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think anybody else. I don't think anybody in the AFC North is going. No, nobody in the AFC North is going anywhere. I mean, you might see Mike Tomlin win Coach of the Year or something. And give Stefanski credit too with, what's been going on at the quarterback position. With the Browns, I think that's really it. I don't think there's anybody else that I could think of. No, I think pretty much everybody is. That was pretty much everybody that could be gone after this year. So, yeah, that's pretty much it with this topic, this segment. So with that, we will take our final break of the show, and then when we come back, we will go through the stat leaders. We'll do that for both the NFL and for college as well. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.